Let's start off with the Superman. I wasn't actually as surprised by this, but it gets to this idea. I mean, it wasn't just the Superman comic, but we've had other sort of collectibles. And I want to take out the Klimts and the Frida Kahlos, because we know there's always been demand for that type of art. But to see Superman, or to see a gold chain from the hip-hop era get auctioned off at Sotheby's, you're starting to see things, particularly from my generation, that people are valuing in a way that I think if you thought about it maybe 20 years ago, you said, there's no way we're going to see the type of valuations ascribed to those things.
Every meaningful collectible that has been outside of paintings that are sold at Sotheby's, antiques sold 30 years ago at Sotheby's or Christie's, vases, clocks, watches from the late 1800s in Europe, at the time weren't a collectible, right? Trading cards in the 50s in this country, people that are watching right now, dads had them in their bike spokes or threw them against the wall. New collectibles have always emerged. Humans have always collected. And by the way, contemporary art, go read Boom, go read the history. In the 60s and 70s, people were making fun of the art that was made in New York. And that wasn't European art, and now it's selling for Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, Basquiat. So, to me, you're right. Our generation, I just turned 50 the other day. Comic books, trading cards, sneakers. We're seeing a new game, but the numbers, look at these numbers on the screen. The numbers are real, and I think a lot of people think this is an anomaly or a one-off. I think this is the preview, and I think collecting is now joining fashion, music, sports in the lifestyle genre game. Everyone's collecting something is kind of what I see from 5 to 10 years from now.
I am curious about how you value something, and I know that valuing art has always been more art than science, pun intended. But when you start talking about sneakers or these other sort of more contemporary items, is there sort of a way that we value this, or we're just kind of playing it as we hear it?
Well, we're playing it like the way everything's always worked. What are two people willing to pay for it? And who's got the big wallet and who's got the little wallet in that situation. I think this is about demand. I think this is about expression. We live in a social media world where people want to show people what they have. Fashion has always been that. We wear the clothes we want, and why am I wearing this hat? Like, it's all that. I just think that the returns are hard for the audience that watches this show to deny over the last half century, let alone last decade. The returns are the returns. Like, at some point, people are gonna be like, this is not silly anymore. People are genuinely interested in these things. Because for me, for example, I'd rather own a trading card or a comic book and have that go up in value than the same equivalent of a stock. 100 shares of Tesla is not as interesting for me going up as one rare rookie card or a collectible. It has extra value.
Well, it has sort of value that I would assume some sentimentality.
Nostalgia.
The argument might be it doesn't necessarily have the liquidity that people might value if they own 100 of Tesla shares.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And I'm sure everybody who's got a half a brain that goes on this show talks about diversifying. I think that's fair.
We've heard that one before.
Yeah, you've heard that one? I think that's fair, but to take it even a step further to a lot of the stocks I like here, the CPG landscape, I think collectibles, if you look back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s on Madison Avenue, a lot of these CPGs, the Pepsis, the Hostesses, they integrated collectibles. You look at Hershey's, what they just did with Pokemon. I think collectibles are not only something people are going to collect for monetary value, but I actually think a lot of Fortune 500 companies are going to start using collectibles to drive their day-to-day business.
Well, Gary, what I'm curious about when we're talking about collectibles, are we talking about actually owning the object itself? Because there's a lot of platforms and different firms out there that try to basically securitize these things and offer shares.
Well, now you're getting into probably the most exciting thing. When you start layering these collectibles into fractionalization, you start talking about what the blockchain can actually do instead of just speculation. I think what Wall Street did for companies and fractionalized, I think you will see for collectibles. So that $9 million, one of the reasons so many people that are thoughtful are buying the best of the best is they realize, wait a minute, I'm gonna sell the ownership of this $9 million comic book in fractional shares, and it's going to be worth 17 million because a lot of people like me are going to maybe not put up 9, but I might put up 100,000 for me. Somebody I might put up $1. So I think fractionalization, the blockchain, the things you're seeing ahead of us. We're looking at the Mickey Mantle right now. Those numbers are going crazy, and I think you're starting to see new things go. Video games are starting to emerge as collectibles. in like a Fortnite sold for $40,000 the other day. That's a new game. Forget about Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. So again,
and computers, and smartphones,
correct. The first
original,
iPhone. I'm telling you, I think the audience that watches this show is underestimating this overarching collectible insurgence that we're going to see in people diversifying. But again, going to be activated by Fortune 500 companies to sell their day-to-day products. The best way to sell a bunch of cereal right now is to put a collectible in it like it's 1965. And I think the Kellogg's and the Hostesses and the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas are about to wake up to this trend. The data's pretty clear for anyone who's paying attention. And it is a little more fun. In general, people are looking for a little joy. There's a lot going on in the world. And this is a fun place for people. And it creates community. You look at Comic-Con in San Diego and Javits Center. There's a reason the comic book, the nerds, that whole Revenge of the Nerds thing, it's here.
It's here.
It's here.
It's happening now. Gary, unfortunately, we have to leave it there.
Devastating.
Hope to have you back soon.
Willing to host the whole show if you guys
There you go.
need.
It's
Gary,
better you than
anytime.
Thank you.
And by the way, I'm just crying thinking about all the comic books I threw out
Oh my God.
over the years.
Well, don't
baseball
cry.
cards.
Don't cry. We just have to
records.
hold it together until 5 p.m.
I could have been somebody, Katie, right, Phil?
been
I could have been a
somebody.
contender.
Gary Vaynerchuk,
Thank
great
you.
to speak
Thank
with
you.
you. That is VaynerX chairman and VaynerMedia CEO Gary Vaynerchuk.